Another reason why I left religion, Christianity, and fundamentalism is because of leaders and church members' hypocrisy. If you've ever heard of the 7 deadly sins, if you were to ask a group of thousands of people whether or not the 7 deadly sins are in the Bible, 80% of them would say yes, they're not. The idea of the 7 deadly sins came from Pope Gregory in the 6th century. These concepts of 7 deadly sins, pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth, are extremely popular. There's even a movie, Seven, with Brad Pitt about a killer who kills people due to leanings toward these 7 deadly sins. The problem with the hypocrisy in church is that churches harp on specific sins. Pride is a very big sin in church. I mean, I haven't known more than 3 leaders in 7 churches that didn't enjoy being the center of attention. Greed, if one word describes church except hypocrisy, I would say greed. I mean, televangelists would not survive a year without greed. Lust, Google self-help books for lust. I mean, church would not function without the idea of sex and porn addiction. Gluttony, that one's really not touched on very much because half the people in the U.S. are obese. I'd say half the people in church over the age of 50 are obese. And these are statistics. This is not judgment. This is just the reality of living in a society that gives you 3 times the portion you need in order to survive. Wrath, welcome to the character of God. There is nothing so bad about Christian hate or wrath. Slothfulness, I mean, I've heard countless sermons where preachers harp on idleness is the devil's workshop. Because if you're not doing free labor for the church, you're next to be used by Satan. And why does the church have a high hypocrisy issue? Look at the 10 Commandments. Half of the 10 Commandments are about how we treat God. The other half is how we treat other people. And if we focus on how we treat other people, it's about don't lie in court, don't sleep with another man's property, don't covet another man's property. It's never about treating people with kindness because they're their own person. It's who owns them. There are no laws in church or within the Bible about taking care and not creating misconduct with women and children. Not one of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not touch women and children without consent. Because consent did not exist in the Bible. The whole issue about the hypocrisy is churches will harp on what we call the white man's sins instead of focusing on things that really matter. And lying, adultery, slothfulness are terrible things, don't get me wrong. But we never harp on the truly devastating sins. Gossip, pride, envy, being unhospitable to people who don't look white or privileged, sexism, racism, homophobia, being a cruel human being, sowing discord among people, touching children or women without consent. None of those are ever harped on. I've been in church for 25 years and have never heard a sermon about men having integrity unless it had to do with sex or lust. The problem with hypocrisy is it's very little addressed or held accountable. I've known people in leadership that planted pornography on senior pastors' computers so they could take their position. Envy, greed, pride. I've seen women in minor positions of authority cause damage. And it wasn't because they were a woman, it's because they sowed discourse through gossip. Gossip isn't a female activity, it's a human activity. And the problem with only focusing on sexual immorality, pride, and backsliding is you forget that there are horrible people among you. There is little to never emphasis on men creating domestic violence. I've never had a sermon in 25 years about men not harming their wives. The only sermon that came close was men learning how to be in charge by loving their wives. There's little to no emphasis